Have you ever stopped and wondered when people in North America went from thinking of themselves as British subjects to, well, to thinking of themselves as Americans? Today, we're digging into the original building blocks of that identity, the ones that were put in place long before anyone even thought about signing a Declaration of Independence. Let's jump in. So, how does something like a national identity even happen? I mean, think about it. You're thousands of miles away from your home country. What does it take for all these different scattered communities to start feeling like they're part of something new, something that they all share? That's really the big question we're tackling here. And our story really kicks off with this number, 13. The 13 colonies. Now, at this point, they were not a country, not even close. They were more like a patchwork of separate little settlements. But this is the ground where the seeds of a brand new, uniquely American identity first got planted. Okay, so the very first ingredient in this recipe for a new identity was just pure explosive growth. The population in the colonies was just booming. This created a society that felt totally different from Old World Europe, which was so much more rigid and set in its ways. This constant change created this sense of energy, of momentum, this belief that they were building something from the ground up. But with all that growth, you get a massive challenge. How in the world do you manage it all? And this brings us right to our first foundational building block of American identity, the hands-on, day-to-day experience of ruling themselves. Their solution was something called the local assembly. And the key theme to understand here is that these were governing bodies run by the colonists themselves. The big decisions weren't being handed down from a king or a parliament an ocean away. Nope. They were being made right there in their own communities, by their neighbors, by farmers and merchants. And you really can't overstate how huge this was over the long run. It was like this decades-long training program in how to be a democracy. By solving their own local problems, debating their own laws, the colonists were building up this political muscle memory for self-governance, one town meeting at a time. Okay, so you've got the physical growth, you've got the political experience. What comes next? Well, the next essential piece of the puzzle is a whole new way of thinking. A truly distinct colonial voice started to take shape, and it was full of some pretty radical ideas about rights and freedom. This is our second building block. Just listen to this idea, which started showing up in colonial writings. Liberty is the birthright of all. Think about how powerful that is. It doesn't say it's the birthright of the British or the rich or any specific group. It says of all. This was a game-changing, universal idea that basically framed freedom as a natural human right, not some kind of gift from a government. But at the very same time, you'd hear a totally different argument, especially when colonists were protesting British rules. They'd base their claim on their heritage, saying something like, "We deserve these freedoms because we are Englishmen, and these are our traditional rights." See the difference? This clash right here, this is the engine that was driving this new identity. On one side, you have this revolutionary, forward-thinking idea about liberty for everyone. And on the other, you have this traditional claim to rights you inherit. It's the tension, the debate between these two ideas that forged a totally unique political philosophy, one that wasn't just English anymore, but was becoming something distinctly American. So we've got our raw materials, right? We've got rapid growth, we've got hands-on political training, and we've got this exciting new debate about what freedom even means. Now, let's stack these building blocks together and see what kind of structure they ended up creating. You can really see how one thing just flows into the next here. The crazy growth of the colonies, well, that created the need for them to govern themselves. And that experience of self-governance, that lit the fire for developing new ideas about what it meant to be free. Each step was a natural consequence of the one before it. And when you mix all of those forces together, the result was pretty much unavoidable. People who used to just think of themselves as English subjects living overseas started to feel like they were something else, something new. They were being connected by shared experiences, shared problems, and a powerful set of shared ideas. A collective American identity was being hammered into shape. And all this leaves us with one last question to think about. We've just seen how growth, self-rule, and new ideas built an identity hundreds of years ago. It kind of makes you wonder, right? What are the building blocks today? The shared experiences, the technologies, the big ideas that are shaping our identities right now.